process.
But did they follow the due process before they came?
When you seek asylum, even the people that have sought asylum and are here in the United States, they're sending them back too. So yes, that's doing it the right way. And yet and still, they're finding whatever loopholes, or even if the Supreme Court says, no, they deserve due process, they still shipped them away.
Right.
To places that they didn't even come from. Just get them out of here.
Right. So I do believe we do need to have mass deportation. I believe we need to make sure we're securing and making sure that we're securing what belongs to the American citizens first.
Do you believe in mass deportation with due process?
I believe, yes. I believe there's due process. But I will say this, most of the individuals that have come to the United States care nothing about our due process. If you are going to, and I've been to the actual Mexico border and have seen what is going on over that border, there is no due process. And the majority of the individuals that are coming here are simply wanting to go past the due process. They want to claim asylum. Most of them do not have kids, and they're coming over and they're wanting to live off of what we have built as a foundation of the United States.
It's so interesting to me because I find America to be a melting pot. It was built by so many different people. Offhand, can you tell me what is inscribed at the bottom of the Statue of Liberty?
No. I can't think
You
of it.
cannot.
No.
It says to bring me your homeless, come here to our country. It's a welcoming to all of these people who are living in places where they are afraid for their lives. They cannot have any kind of livelihood because they're some of running from war, different things like that. So when they come here to our country is supposed to be a place where they can find asylum and peace and establish themselves through due process. And so it's very interesting to see how that's going in this new administration that you support.
I agree with that. But where's the resources going to come from? We already have the debt ceiling is almost collapsing because we have spent trillions of dollars in debt to being able to continue to just give to other countries. And so you have to get back to the thing. If this is about America being a place, let's take care of the mothers who can't afford formula. Let's talk about the gas prices for the Americans. Let's talk about the grocery bills for the Americans. And I believe that we don't bring it back home first. We have put out a lot of aid, foreign aid to places that we have stood stop because we've given them so many billions and millions of dollars and they're not doing what they need to do. Those wars and those things that are happening in other countries, they're not our issues. You know, we have allies, but we're supposed to. I was going
to say, as an ally, don't we have a responsibility to stand?
To a degree. But after a while, after billions of dollars like Ukraine, enough is enough.
Who determines that degree?
I would say the American people should look at the trillions of dollars of debt we're in and say, hey, I don't want no more of my tax-paying dollars to go to Ukraine or any other foreign entity that needs to fight their own battles.
That's very interesting with the whole war between Russia and Ukraine. It seems if we don't support Ukraine, who are we supporting then? Are we supporting Russia?
Not necessarily so. I think people think that we have to support Russia because we don't support Ukraine. But I think we just need to support freedom to them to be able to make that decision as two countries that are old enough to make those choices on their own. And I mean old enough by their country age. But for us, we need to focus on what's happening right now. The past administration was very destructive to the United States, and we're paying for that now. It's not Trump's fault. This what we're seeing now is because of the Biden administration.
It's very interesting. It's very interesting to me that the fingers are always being pointed at the administration that's prior to the one that's in office. So I believe that the economy that President Trump received was a much better economy than what we are experiencing right now. But I would love to ask you this. In your view, why do you think so many Black Americans are so against our current sitting president that you support?
I think it's once he said that he was going to run for president and he started putting his foot down in a lot of ways, that's when it happened. Because a lot of, especially some of these Hollywood Black superstars and whatever, they were people who were sitting at the same table with him and who were taking pictures. And if you look back at some of the individuals who were stars or hosts of The View, they were still the people saying, oh my God, we love Donald Trump. And now as we hate Donald Trump. So I just think that in some ways that a lot of people in those stances, they just don't want to see that some of these things is a hardcore truth. And I say, have I become the scripture? Have I now become your enemy because I tell you the truth? And I think President Trump is the truth teller. We just may not like the way he's doing it.
Ooh, do you think he was telling the truth about the Central Park Five?
We're not going to go there. No.
Oh, no, we
we're
are.
Not.
Yes or
listen,
no?
Listen.
Okay, you listen.
Listen.
Go ahead.
I would say this. This is something that he made and corrected, and we have to move forward in our time.
Oh.
We're talking about what's happening in 2025. And I always say that because
they say history repeats itself. So what we're going to do, y'all, we're going to go to a break, but it's not like any break y'all been on before. This is a praise break for the culture. Come on. I don't know what y'all came to do, but we came to have a good time. Woo! Mr. Willie Montague. Don't go nowhere, y'all. Sisaundra Show. I am sitting here with the one and only Mr. Willie Montague. He is running for District 15?
Yes.
Yes, Senate in Florida. And so we have lots of questions for Mr. Montague. We are going to continue. So your stance on Second Amendment rights are very clear. But how do you reconcile that with concerns from many Black Americans who feel that gun rights may sometimes disproportionately affect communities of color?
If it does affect communities of colors, it's because that's the narrative has been painted. Actually, most of the people who are gun carriers or Second Amendment rights stance is Blacks. And I believe that any gun reform at all, well, I would say any gun reform at all is racist. Most of the gun reforms that have come about really is trying to stop Black communities from being able to be law-abiding gun carriers and protecting their families like everybody else.
But it's so interesting to me because every time this comes up, it's normally when there's a school shooting or a mass shooting or something like that. And most of the people who commit these crimes are Caucasian.
Okay,
so
yes.
Talk to me.
But we have a high number of Black on Black crime, okay? So when we talk about that, we got to talk about the overall. We need to talk about protection and safeguarding because we're talking about Second Amendment. And I truly believe the Second Amendment says shall not be infringed. So I believe we already have things in place to protect that, which is your background check, making sure that you are not, that you're mentally stable to be able to carry a gun. And some of these people who have done the school shooting, if you look at the history, most of them have either taken their parent gun or something has happened where it wasn't actually their gun that they take. So maybe talking about gun safety, but not just taking away guns or thinking that's going to solve the problem. And there's a lot of people that want to just take guns away. And we need to protect our families.
I do believe that we do have the right to bear arms. I think
Correct,
that's important. But I don't understand if we have black on black crime. Okay, you may have one shooting here, two shootings here, but then you have Caucasians who get access to guns that you say they don't really own, but they're owned by their parents who are still Caucasian, and they go to schools and shoot up 20, 30 people at one time. I mean, I think the numbers ain't mathing with me right now.
That's why I believe we need to make sure that our parents are protected or understand about gun safety and how to put away their guns. We also need to make sure that the teachers are educated on guns. And this may be an unpopular opinion, but I do believe that teachers should be able to carry a gun if they need to protect their classrooms.
That's very interesting. That definitely brought a lot of controversy with the last shooting a couple of years ago, and they were starting to train the teachers. And I think that was kind of like pushed under the rug, right?
Yeah, because most of the time it's not something you want to talk about, thinking that your teacher can at
We
any
don't
moment
want teachers carrying guns, because sometimes the teachers can be as sick as the gun carriers.
Well, the solution to that is homeschool. If the problem is going to be at the school and you feel like it's not safe, homeschool. I tell people this, especially in our black community, don't send your kids to public school if you feel like it's unsafe. There is great curriculums out there. Send them to either a private school, charter school, or homeschool them.
Okay, so I agree with that, because I know we have school vouchers and all of that.
Yeah.
And they're getting rid of the Board of Education. That's a very interesting move
On a federal level, yes.
On a federal level,
Yes.
so that the states can maintain. Yes, I wrote a paper on that, so I'm fully understanding that. So let's go on to this next question. We won't even get into education right now. As someone who's deeply invested in community programs like House of Timothy, what do you say to those who argue that systemic issues such as poverty and inequality need government intervention rather than solely community-driven initiatives?
The saying is, it takes a village to raise a child. And I think that we as a community have to learn to work together. The Black Wall Street, when it was, especially in Tulsa, Oklahoma, when it was thriving, that dollar circulated in North Tulsa like this. It was like you didn't have to go to South Tulsa to be able to go to the grocery stores or go to the banks or be able to go to the post office. And in society, we have, with LBJ, has come in and he has incentivized for the government to become God and the parent. And so now you have it where black people often in black communities feel like it's necessary to live on a welfare system when we actually can thrive without it. We have the ability to be strong in the way that we do entrepreneurship things. We have the way to be strong in how we handle church and community. We just have to stop thinking that the government is in all of it. Now, do we have to have some in place to help us be able to get over humps, like stimulus checks and so forth? Absolutely. But to create a system built around...
But Trump did not write that check. That was because of Biden, and Trump signed it. Let's go ahead.
Because y'all coming today. So, but overall, like, we have to really get to the place where we have to establish our own communities as a people of color and not look for the government to be able to do it.
Well, I agree with you on that. That is exactly a great answer. I don't believe in, I consider it to be arrested development. I do believe that there are some social programs that we need, but they should not be there to arrest our development. And it's not just the physical development, it's the mental development that it should not arrest as well. So you've expressed strong support for law enforcement, but given the history of police brutality and mistrust, how do you balance supporting law enforcement with holding them accountable to prevent abuse to power? So
I created a plan called PUSH, Policing Under Strategic Harmony. And what this was a plan where we would not have an internal review, which often is what happens when police brutality take place, is an internal review or an investigation, which means they can push it under the rug. This will be an external review from some other type of agency, and also communities that will be able to come in and say, hey, let's look at the police report, let's look at everything and make a decision based off of that. I believe that we need our police officers. We see what happens when we don't, but we do need some policing under strategic harmony, and that involves the community and everyone in place. So I do believe in backing the blue, but those that understand the need to be trained, they have enough training to work with all levels of things, because we have a lot of that go out there and have no clue when it deals with human trafficking or what goes when people have, we see some of the kids coming up with autism, don't know behaviors, and they act out based off of the lack of training. So I believe that
Correct.
training is necessary, but we have to have law enforcement to be able to do it.
We need to have them, and at the same time, we talk about children who have different behaviors or different people who have different behaviors. At one point, they were talking about defunding the police. I don't think defunding the police meant taking money away. I think it's allocating the funds to exactly those different areas that you just brought to light. There's different programs, different people that need to talk to not criminals, but people who are in distress, opposed to slapping cuffs on them and putting them in jail. There's more training that needs to go on. Do you plan to implement this if you become senator?
Yeah. I want there to be training. That's the number one thing. I don't want us to get, I've had my own, interactions with law enforcement, which trigger for me to realize, say, okay, I see where people are coming from. Not for the defund the police, but I do believe, again, that there's a strategic plan that needs to be in place.
Correct.
So I'm all for that. I'll definitely implement something or get on a plan or act that would help us to be able to move forward, especially in the state of Florida.
Excellent. Let's move on to this next question. So you're advocating for lower taxes and reduced regulation for small businesses. But with the growing divide between the wealthy and working class communities, how do you ensure these policies don't end up exacerbating inequality?
That comes from, again, community development. I think that when we develop our community to understand their worth and their value, whether it's the people of color or not, that's where business thrive the most. And I think that we have gotten away from the small business incubators. We've gotten away from people being able to say, let me go and get resources. And so it gets covered up or gets pushed under. And then we have all the different things where people say the taxes, the tariffs, all those things. But at the end of the day, when you're really making a good solid plan and foundation, those things will not rock the small business community. We just have to, again, stay focused and not look to the left or right with all the distractions of this is what Trump's doing, not doing, DeSantis doing, not doing, this governor, that governor. At the end of the day, is what is your local representative doing to put you back in focus with your small business and your homes?
I love that. Now, I'm going to be a little petty, as they would say, and you say we're not going to say what Trump's doing or what DeSantis is doing, but y'all always talking about what Biden did, what this person did, but now we're not going to say it. Let's move on. So many would say that being a Republican in a district like District 15 is challenging because it doesn't align with the history and needs of the Black community. How do you convince voters who feel their best interests are served by more progressive policies to trust your vision of change?
Well, let's be honest, and most people do not say.
I know that's hard sometimes for Republicans. Did I say that? I'm just kidding, Willie. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
But let's be honest. In the state of Florida is a supermajority. So, and this is sometimes that I think the Democrats don't share this part about it. But most of the things that they really want to do, they cannot accomplish because Republicans are in charge. And so that's why I say if you can get look past me being a Republican. I was born Black. I've been Black all my life. You may not like the way I do things, but at the end of the day, the only way that we're going to get things across the finish line when it comes to voting for legislation, especially in the state of Florida, is through Republicans, because they're the ones that present the bill to the Speaker of the House, they present the bill to the Senate President, and those are the things that come to committee and to the floor. And so that is what makes the difference. So we have a lot of Democrats present things, then they complain and say, oh, my stuff don't get passed, the governor's stopping it, the House is stopping it. So if you know that's going to happen, there's no need of staying in something for the 8 years and just complaining that it can't get done. Send someone there, may not be what you want, but at least bring your policies and your actions to someone that can bring it to the finish line as a Republican, because we do have the majority in the Senate and the House.
So that would be you.
Yeah,
That
absolutely.
would be you who could bring it to your party,
Right.
speak to them, and get them to possibly see things the way, they might actually reach across the aisle and think about not just about Republican views,
Correct.
but the constituents in that area.
And it has been talks about initiatives of how we can start crossing over the line. I used to do a once a month event called Crossing the Line, which was bringing all of the party together, the independents, the Libertarian Party, Democrats, Republicans, even the BLM, and saying, this is the conversation we need to have, and what does it look like moving our community forward? So to me, it's not about just being Democrat or Republican.
It's so true, and I'm so glad you said that. Listen, we wish you the absolute best in your run for Senate. God bless you. It's time for us to go, but this has been very awesome sitting here chatting with you. To our viewers, thank y'all so much for tuning in. Mr. Willie Montague has been with us today for The Culture.
All right, y'all. Come on. Just scan that QR code at the bottom of your screen. because we got so much more exclusive content for y'all right here only on the Sisaundra Show.